The city never slept, but for 10-year-old Lily, the neon lights and endless hum of cars were not symbols of life or opportunity, they were reminders of a world she had been pushed out of, a world that carried on without her as if she were invisible, and on this cold night, wrapped in a sweater that hung off her like a curtain and shoes that barely held together, she sat curled up behind a bakery's dumpster with her knees to her chest, trying to pretend that hunger gnawing at her stomach was just a small ache she could sleep through, but the ache had become her oldest companion, whispering to her that she was unwanted, forgotten, a ghost in her own life. She remembered when she had a home, a bed, a mother who sang lullabies to chase away nightmares, but those days were a blurred dream now, her mother taken by illness when Lily was only 7, her father gone long before, leaving her to bounce from one reluctant relative's couch to another until finally no one wanted the burden of a grieving, quiet girl who ate too much and spoke too little, so she ended up here, on the streets, learning to survive with instincts sharper than her small body suggested, scavenging leftover bread from bins, darting away from drunk men who muttered things that made her skin crawl, clutching her small backpack like it was the last piece of her identity. It held nothing but a faded photograph of her mother, a cracked plastic comb, and a book she couldn't finish reading because the words blurred whenever the tears came, but she carried it anyway as proof that she was still a child and not just a creature scraping by. On this particular night the wind seemed to mock her, slipping under her sweater and stabbing at her ribs, and she thought if she closed her eyes tight enough, she could pretend she was under her mother's blanket again, hearing the hum of a lullaby, but then a sound sliced through her thoughts, a groan, low and guttural, not the usual shuffle of drunks or the barking of dogs, but something raw, human, desperate. Lily froze, every instinct warning her to stay hidden. On the streets, curiosity often got kids hurt or worse, but something in the sound tugged at her, some small, buried part of her heart that hadn't yet hardened, so she rose, clutching her backpack, and followed the echo of pain down a side alley where the light from a flickering street lamp revealed a man collapsed against the wall, his expensive black suit rumpled, his white shirt stained with sweat, his silver hair damp against his forehead. As his chest rose and fell in shallow, panicked gasps. Lily had never seen someone dressed like that lying in filth. Suits like his belonged to men stepping out of shining cars, striding into towers of glass, not crumpled like broken dolls on dirty concrete, and for a moment she thought he might already be dead, until his hand twitched against the ground, clawing weakly as if reaching for something that wasn't there. She edged closer, fear and pity wrestling inside her, until his eyes flicked open, sharp gray eyes dulled with pain but still piercing, and they locked on hers with a silent plea. "Help, please," he rasped, the words jagged, fragile, as though even speaking cost him pieces of his life. Lily's heart pounded. She had no phone, no one to call, no idea what to do, but she remembered one thing a kind nurse had once said at a shelter: when someone struggled to breathe, loosen their clothing, give them air, keep them calm. Her small hands trembled as she tugged at his tie, yanking with all her strength until it loosened, and she propped his head slightly on her backpack, whispering, it's okay, just breathe," even though she wasn't sure it was okay at all. He coughed, a horrible, rattling sound, then squeezed her wrist with surprising strength, his grip icy but urgent, his lips moving closer to her ear. "You saved me," he whispered, and though the words were barely audible, they lit something inside her that had been dark for so long, because no one had said she saved them, no one had called her anything but a nuisance or a burden, yet here was a man, clearly someone important, someone who belonged in a world far above hers, telling her that her presence mattered. His eyes fluttered as though the world was slipping from him, but he pulled her closer, his breath hot against her ear as he forced out words that would brand themselves on her soul forever. "Remember this, you are not nothing. You are everything. Find my lawyer, tell him. I choose you." Lily's eyes widened. She didn't understand, didn't know what he meant by choosing her, didn't know who his lawyer was or why she mattered, but the weight in his voice, the certainty, made her believe for the first time that maybe she wasn't invisible. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance, growing louder as red and blue lights flashed against the alley walls, and Lily scrambled back as paramedics rushed in, barking orders, lifting the man onto a stretcher, checking monitors and IVs, their voices brisk and practiced as if his life was just another puzzle to solve, and Lily stood frozen, clutching her backpack, watching as the man's hand slipped away from hers, his gaze lingering on her one last time before the ambulance doors slammed shut, leaving her alone in the alley with her heart racing and her mind spinning. She didn't even know his name, yet his words echoed in her ears, drowning out the city noise. You are not nothing. You are everything. That night, huddled under her cardboard shelter once more, Lily couldn't sleep, couldn't shake the feeling that her life had shifted, that somehow in helping that stranger she had crossed into a story she didn't yet understand, and though hunger and cold still gnawed at her, though she was still a homeless girl with nothing but a sweater and a photograph, she felt a spark of something she hadn't felt in years, hope, fragile and trembling, but alive, whispering to her that maybe, just maybe, her life was about to change forever.